Why do you build me up? Buttercup, baby, just to let me down and mess me around, and the worst of all.
What is going on, guys? I am back with another review of a day at an amusement park, and this time I will be talking about the second day of our trip to Cedar Point. And I honestly, before I get started with this review of the day, let me just say that the first day at Cedar Point went much better, like, in my opinion at least. And so, anyways, let's just get started with the review of the day. So, EB and I woke up at Hotel Breakers for our second day at Cedar Point, and we started getting ready for early entry, And the first thing we did when we walked in the park was walk to Maverick, since we both still needed the cred on that. And yeah, we got on Maverick, and it is an amazing launched coaster. The second launch was what really freaking blew us away. Like, my gosh. And so, anyways, after that ride we had on Maverick, we headed to Skyhawk, which was my first ever SNS Scream and Swing, and EB's first SNS Scream and Swing since Scream and Swing at Dorney Park got removed. And that was a good ride. And after Skyhawk, we rode Cedar Creek Mine Ride, since we both still needed the cred on that as well. And it was a pretty solid mine ride, I would say. And so, anyways, after Cedar Creek Mine Ride, we headed to Pipe Scream, because I just freaking love Pipe Scream, okay? It is my first ever Zamperla Surfer Dog disco. Like, my gosh, like, I just enjoyed riding it the first day, and I just wanted to get a ride on it after my Cedar Creek Mine Ride, because I loved it that much. And so, anyways, after that ride on Pipe Scream, we headed to Cedar Point's Monster. And Cedar Point's Monster was not a good ride on it. I was expecting, like, we'd get some, like, really good spins on it and stuff, like we do at the one at Dorney all the time. But we didn't get that much spins on Cedar Point's Monster. So, Cedar Point's Monster, thumbs down from us. And so, after that ride on Monster, we headed to Gemini, because EB still needed the cred on the red side. We both still needed the cred on the red side. But, like, yeah, after Cedar Point's Monster, we rode Gemini, because we both still needed the cred on that. And yeah, so after Gemini, the craziest thing happened. We got on Cedar Point Slingshot. Yeah, that's right. And it was our first ever Slingshot too, and our first ever upcharge attraction. Like, my gosh. And it was a crazy ride we had on Slingshot. I even purchased an on-ride video that I will be posting sometime down, like, in the future or in the near future, depending on when I get it saved to my phone. And so, anyways, after that ride on Slingshot, we headed to Chickies and Pete's for lunch, where I got their pizza, and that was a good meal at Cedar Point's Chickies and Pete's. And then we headed to Raptor, which again is my favorite B&M invert, but this ride on Raptor, the wait for it sucked, because it was taking forever. They weren't loading fast enough, and the breakdown happened while we were in line. That is insane. Rides have been breaking down while we were in frickin' line this year. And so, after that ride on Raptor, we headed to Wicked Twister, because that was the shortest line at the moment. And it was a good ride on Wicked Twister, I would say. And after Wicked Twister, we rode Windseeker, and that was yet another good ride on Windseeker. I love a good Windseeker, okay? And this was my third ever one, as you know. And so after Windseeker, we rode Tiki Twirl for my second ever Calypso ride and Evie's first. And that was a good ride on Tiki Twirl. And then we rode Rougarou, which we had to wait a bit, but it was worth the wait. Rougarou is my favorite B&M floorless, okay? Like, I just can't get enough of it those days. It's much faster paced than Hydra. And so anyways, after Rougarou, we headed to Millennium Force. I mean, we were gonna do Millennium Force, but then it went down, so we just went to Top Thrill Dragster, only to have ended up waiting all that time for nothing, because while we were waiting in line, guess what? Dragster went down because something was wrong with the braking system, which really freaking sucked. And we just got out of line because we didn't know how long it was going to be until they freaking fixed that thing. It probably would have been toward closing, and that would not have been good. And so after that, we went back to my locker to grab my bag, and I got that locker for nothing too. Like, oh my god, this really sucked. And so after that, wait for Top Thrill Dragster for nothing, we ate at Cedar Point's Coasters Drive-In, which was good. I liked it better than Dorney's because they have like an additional area that you could eat at, in the back of Coasters Drive-In, and I could not, Dorney's does not have another area like that. So I'm glad we ate at Cedar Point's Coasters Drive-In because I now like it way better than Dorney's Coasters Drive-In because of that additional section in the back. And so, anyways, after we ate at Coasters Drive-In, we headed to Valraven which ended up being our last ride of the night, especially since we got on past closing. And so, yeah, we ended up getting on Valraven past closing. That was cool because we got on it when the lighting package started to come on. And so, yeah, that was a good past closing ride on Valraven. We rode in the middle row, and yeah, it was a good last ride of the trip on Valraven. And because, it was good. It was especially good that we ended out the whole trip with Valraven because, as you know, Valraven was my 70th coaster. Isn't that nuts, you guys? And so, anyway, after we got off of Valraven, we headed back to Hotel Breakers for our last night there. And that officially ended our last day at Cedar Point. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review of our second and final day at Cedar Point, and make sure to reply to me your thoughts on this video, and make sure to check out my merch store on Bonfire. I have coffee mugs, tote bags, face masks, long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, all the things you could possibly want that Bonfire allows you to sell, so make sure you go check that out. I'll have a link in the description, and I will see you in the next